Remember to be kind to yourself, and let's change the world one family at a time. I've got a show to talk to you about called The Great ADHD Myth.
All of the individuals and professionals and experts on that program last night were selectively picked to have the agenda for that program. And the agenda for that program was to get people to watch it. And let's be honest, they did. It worked. But what they didn't have is have a balance of professionals that see more than one side of an opinion or a story. And that was really disappointing.
So I think, Nikki, thank you so much for doing this, because I think it's really helped me, Nikki. She put that across really, really well. Again, I haven't watched the program, so I can't independently tell you whether it was balanced or not. But that was my fear. That's why I didn't watch it, because I know how these things work. And I before I'd even watched it, I suspected from the framing that it would be one-sided, and she's validated that concern. And listening to Nikki, who actually did watch it, really, the way she describes it validates the concerns that I had there. But I also really like what she says about the family involved, and it's important not to judge them. There's something I say a lot on this channel. Everybody's different. Some things that come on my show, they might resonate, they might not. Everybody's different. Again, not everything fits everyone. Not every solution or strategy or tool or technique will fit everybody, because we're all different. We're all different ends of the spectrum. If you have a child that's a lot like mine, some of my strategies will help. But then that's why I get guests on to share theirs. So if I don't have all the answers, and I only have I know one child who has it. I met other children with it, of course, through Eva and through the school, and they're all unique. So not one thing. And if you speak to the teachers, they know they have to use different techniques to help each child. So we shouldn't judge. And that lady, her kids, she feels doesn't have ADHD. That doesn't mean it's a social construct. It just means she knows her family best. And this was one of the arguments I had with the school. They were saying there's nothing wrong with Eva, but you don't know Eva as well as I do. So the lady, the teacher, the head of Senate was actually, that was on our tribunal, saying that she didn't need help, the extra help in the special needs school, had probably only sat with Eva for maybe 3 or 4 hours in the whole time that she'd been at that school for that year. Making an assessment of that, so how much time have we spent with our kids? Thankfully, the judge saw our case, and it went our way. But it's a shame that it has to go to a tribunal for things like that. And that's similar with this. We can't judge based on a television program. We see on the television program what they choose, what they want us to see. We don't know everything that's happened. We don't know the lady's full story. You'd have to live her life in her shoes to get the full picture. We don't know the conversation. We don't even know what life looks like when the cameras are off, or what cuts they did to suit their agendas. So I'm certainly not going to judge that family. And this does come back to why I chose not to watch it. If I'm already anxious about the framing, I'm watching something that I might perceive as one-sided, what's the point? What am I actually going to gain for putting myself through that? So again, thank you, Nikki, for clarifying that. I think that's really, really important message. We shouldn't take too much into stuff that's on the TV in general, but is my advice, but especially for that program in particular. So just coming back to one more clip from Nikki, because I think this is a really good, important message. And it's one that resonates me a lot, because we're always talking about self kindness, and putting ourselves first. Let's bring back Nikki.
Now, no matter what that program was last night, the law has not changed. No matter your belief or what you think coming out of that program, it doesn't change the law. Employees still have a right to rate it at work and get adjustments and support to enable their needs to be met. Workplaces still have an obligation to put things in place under the Equality Act, and there is still a dual responsibility for individuals, employees, and workplaces. Nothing has changed in relation to that. One program with a one-sided opinion and an agenda to get viewers does not change the reality that there is individuals out there who continue to have needs that need to be met, and we need to be kind, we need to be supportive, and we need to make sure people have a safe space to be who they are. It's a shame that last night has created a debate. I am sure there will be people comment on my video, but the one thing I will say is my video is about re-clarifying boundaries, dual responsibility, and making sure people feel safe, heard, and seen, and we treat others with kindness and continue to support them. I am here to re-establish a safe space for individuals who we need to support, and this is what this video is about. The agenda was to get viewers, it worked. The agenda was to create a reaction, it's worked. Let's remind everyone this is about kindness, it's about support, and about recognising people not only have strengths, but they have real challenges that they live with daily. So let's be kind. Let's not be unkind on this post or video, and let's continue to support everyone and know and remind you that nothing has changed on the back of last night's programme. And I just felt this was important to share. I hope that's helped everyone.
Yeah, thank you again, Nikki. I think that's probably the reassurance I took most from the video. Nothing has changed. My ADHD didn't change because of Channel 4 releasing a broadcast television program. You're safe, I'm safe. Our ADHD hasn't changed. Your children's needs didn't suddenly disappear. And the law didn't suddenly go away or change. So Nikki has said something else that really stood out. And the agenda was to create a reaction and get views. And it's worked. That's where I realized something. I didn't have to give a reaction. I didn't have to give my attention to it. I knew watching it would cause me anxiety. I could feel that happening from the title alone. So why would I deliberately feed that anxiety? I didn't need to watch everything. I didn't need to read every comment. I didn't need to get involved in every argument. I don't need to convince anybody that my experience is real, and neither do you. So there was an agenda to get views. There was a test. We don't need to fall for it. Remember, energy goes where attention flows. We need to keep in a positive vibe. So come to podcasts, because we are much more positive than all that nonsense on the TV. And I think that's really important here, because the attention we give something, the more energy we give it. We watch it, we search for it, we share clips from it, we argue about it, and that gives it power. We post about it, and ironically, in a way, I'm kind of feeding into it a little bit here, but I'm trying to do it in a positive way, and to remind you that you do have options. There are alternatives to watching that garbage on the telly. By giving it attention, we can end up helping the very thing we're resisting, getting more attention, because what you resist persists. So my advice, if programs like that are going to trigger you, don't watch them. Personally, I'd boycott it. Not because I'm telling you you're not allowed to watch it, because each of you make your own minds up, but because you have a choice about where you put your attention. We've seen consumer boycotts happen with companies and entertainment before. It doesn't end well for them. People decide they don't support something and they can start ignoring it. So stop consuming it. That's all we have to do. And television ultimately means viewers. They're in trouble. They're worrying. So if you really don't like what something represents, sometimes the most powerful response isn't outrage, isn't indifference. Give them nothing. No view, no click, no reaction, no more of your energy, because energy flows where attention goes, and because what you resist persists. If we keep fighting it, talking about it, sharing it, reacting to it, we can actually give it more momentum. No outrage from me, no angry reaction from me, no 2 hours of my life, or however long that program was, spent watching something I already knew would make me anxious and then wanting those 2 hours of my life back. I'd rather put those hours back into something I love, like my family or this podcast, spending time with you guys, something creative, something that makes me laugh, something that actually makes my life feel better. I'm not saying we should avoid everything that makes us anxious. As I said earlier, anxiety has its purpose. It's when you can't turn it off that it becomes dangerous and can impact your health in certain ways. And I feel I've actually been dragged down a little bit recently through certain situations which I can't really talk about at the moment, and it's impacted my health physically. I've contracted a cold and been unable to function because my immune system's lowered because all my vibration was lower. So I kind of enjoy doing this podcast, and it's bringing me back up because I love doing these. So sometimes we have to face difficult things. Sometimes avoiding things, something important, can make anxiety worse. But that program wasn't something I had to face. It was a television program, and I wasn't going to program anything into me where that attention goes, and that's my advice to you. But if you want to watch it because you're genuinely interested, totally respect that. That's your choice. If you're thinking about watching it, even though you know it's going to trigger you, ask yourself, what am I hoping to gain from this? And if your answer is nothing, then maybe you don't need to. Let it fade into oblivion where it belongs and put your energy into somewhere or someone that does deserve it. Remember, energy goes where attention flows, so choose carefully where you let yours flow. So if this whole debate has made you anxious too, please remember, nothing has changed. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to each other.